Welcome to this gratitude series, My Journey Home Through the Stars. My name is Nicola Henderson. I'm a spiritual coach and cosmic mentor, and I am hosting the wonderful Waxela Sananda today. What an honor. Waxela, as we're going to discuss, you have connected me essentially in one way or another to pretty much everyone that's helped me over the last year, which is pretty amazing. Yes. And a lot of people, everyone that's been on this series as well. Now, my intention for this series was really to honor and to recognize and to appreciate the spiritual pioneers that have assisted me in this last year. And it is still that. It's also a timely reminder, I think, of what we need right now, because there's a lot shifting and changing in the world right now, and we're going to talk a bit about that today. And this is a collective coming together, a collective standing for the light. We're all in this together, and all we have to do is keep the love, keep the light, hold the love, and stand strong and stand together and have no fear. Have no fear. Some months ago, my name, Nimaya, dropped in, and it means to break full-blown illusion, and that is the illusion of fear. There is nothing to fear. And on that note, I'm going to transition into this beautiful conversation with Waxela. Waxela is a galactic shaman, an embodied ascension trainer, an author, a quantum embodiment coach, and a heart activator. And I have my own personal story around that heart activation. Waxela is a Cancer sun, Capricorn moon, and a Pisces rising, and a 2-4 sacral manifesting generator for those human design geeks out there like me. So today I'm going to share a little bit more about Waxela. We'll go through some questions, and then if you have any questions, whoever's watching, you're also welcome to put them in the comments. And if there's time at the end, we'll certainly come around to those with a closing ceremony at the end. All right. So a bit more about Waxela. Waxela combines her celestial starseed consciousness with her shamanic training to guide people into personal embodiment of divine frequencies, facilitating a transformational journey of clearing limiting beliefs and transforming stagnant energy into dynamic, creative possibility. Waxela teaches that there is always more to awaken to, the infinitely layered onion, as you so affectionately often put it. And to quote Waxela's website, Embodied Ascension is in, not up. It is the process of excavating into the shadow and darkness, mining your way to the diamond light of the heart, and journeying through the Stargate portal to the infinite divine I Am presence. I met Waxela through Suzanne Gerber, who was my first guest in this series. This was about a year ago. And I have since completed the Ascension training program of Waxela's. And you are, Waxela, an absolute connector, because as I mentioned before, many of the people that have helped me this past year have been from your summits or met through the Ascension program that I did of yours. And they've all been pivotal, massive in my journey. And human design geeks will say it's because she's a line 4, and it's all about the networking in the community. So I'm a line 4 too. So I love doing this stuff. And embarking on your Ascension training program at the very start of my awakening gave me a supportive group, grounded teachings, and a consistent base to come back to weekly as I continued transitioning. It was right at the start of my awakening where I started this program with you, as I'm sure you're aware. And it was exactly what I needed to keep me on that track, because there's so much that shifts and changes when you first awaken and you see that life is very different to what you always thought it to be. So to have such a beautiful, supportive group and yourself leading that with such clear and grounded light and love It was really stabilizing, is a good way to put it. So when we first met on that call, I was very stuck in my head, you may remember. I couldn't make a decision. And you guided me through a short yet extremely powerful exercise to drop into my heart. And you asked what my heart wanted or longed for. And my answer, simply enough, was freedom. Tears ensued. It was a hard yes after that, and I have not looked back since. I have enjoyed sharing with you some of the most beautiful experiences throughout my awakening journey and having your unwavering support throughout. Thank you very much. Thank you.
My pleasure, truly. And thank you for that beautiful acknowledgement. And wow, it brings me so much joy just in retrospect to see where you've gone and what you've done and how you just took it and ran with it, with everything that you expanded into. And this is why you are where you are now. And it's you're just infinitely expanding, and it's so beautiful to watch and see.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So it's fair to say that we are in the chaos before the crumble at the moment. And from your perspective, where is humanity at in our collective awakening? What possible themes do you see emerging? And what does New Earth look like to you?
We are really, this is the time, right? This is the crazy, juicy time that we came here for. I have no doubt. And that doesn't mean it's easy. Just like anything that's worth your time and effort, it doesn't mean that it's easy. Transformation isn't easy, but it's worth it. It's worth it. So this is that point where we're looking at, all of our systems being, like the light is being shined on the shadow. And as above, so below. This is how it's working in our communities, in our societies. This is also how it works individually, where when we're leveling up, when we're ascending our energy or our ability to hold more light, everything that's been in the way of that must bubble up to be cleared. And you can't hold a new level of light and hold the same level of shadow. So that shadow work must be done. And collectively, as a planet, as a planetary community, we are doing that shadow work. And, shadow work isn't always a fun time. But once that's done, then we get to step into our transformation in a powerful way. And this is our transformation. And, so here we are on the spectrum, depending on where you are, depending on where your mind is, depending on what kind of information you're feeding yourself day to day, that's going to have an effect on what's going on in your reality. Because it's not that there's just one reality right now or ever on this matrix, this planet that we're in. It's the layers. There are layers of experience of being, and it has to do with what's going on in here and in here, and where our alignment is and what we're focused on. And what we're focused on, we get more of. So for people, and I'm sure that we can all see this evidenced through people in our lives and many watching maybe, if you're focused on the fear boxes that are all around us, and you're tuning in to that frequency, that vibration, that information, and you're marinating in it every day, well, that's going to be your reality. Things are going to look bleak and scary, and it's not going to be a very easy transition. However, and here's the tricky part. People think, oh, if you're not paying attention to that, then you're not getting the information and you're just ignoring, everything that's going on. There is a way to what I call keep your eye on the prize. Keep your attention on where we desire to go, where we are going, where we inevitably are. And then when one aspect of us is already there, that's the new earth, the 5D and higher frequency experience of life on planet earth. And we can tune into that because all time is now. It all exists now. And we're having this experience of reality as linear, but there is also the part of us that's already made that transformation, that's already stepped into the new earth frequencies that we can pull back from. We can pull the experience into this one and let it lift us up and sustain us. That doesn't mean that we're totally ignoring the world around us and that we're not sensitive to what people are going through. But it does mean that when that's what we're tuned into, that's our anchor. We can anchor there and know where we're going. And if we're anchored in the higher light, and if we're anchored in the higher frequency experience of life on this planet, and we're allowing ourselves to be pulled by that vision, then the stuff around us will become background noise. And again, that doesn't mean to be insensitive to all of the people that are in trauma. It doesn't mean to be insensitive or to pretend that, oh no, that's not important. A lot of important stuff is happening. I think now is definitely the time to take action. And here's the thing, we can focus our minds on where we're going. We can tune out the chaos and the fear box broadcasts, but that's not enough. We also must take action in our day-to-day lives. And I personally have been going to freedom activist gatherings in my hometown where I live. I've been seeking out like-minded people that are interested in creating change in systems. And it's not about making anybody wrong or pointing fingers, but it is about standing strong for our freedoms, standing strong for our rights as humans, standing in our sovereignty, and holding space for all that it means to be human. And many people are seeing their rights taken away. I'm fortunate to be where I am. I live in Florida in the United States. We have a lot of freedom here, and we're fighting. We're fighting for that. We're holding ground for that. And the more of us that gather, wherever you are, the more of us that gather for our freedom, the more we create that. And community, getting connected to community is so important right now. So I would urge everyone, if there's anything that is essential at this time, create community and be an activist for your freedom. Okay, what did I miss there? I know I kind of touched on everything, but maybe the new earth, stepping into the new earth vision.
Yeah.
I do see this, like on one level, it's already happening and it's already happened, right? So that's why we can anchor in that and pull those visions, those truths in from. And for me, this is like tuning into a meditative space and expanding, opening up our consciousness, and then asking through the heart, what can I do? What's right? What's the right action for me in this time? And show me. And you can also just ask. And if we don't ask, then it's not as likely that we're going to receive, right? Just ask. If you want to receive those visions or those feelings, what does it feel like? And this is a co-creative process. What you open your mind to, you can receive. And so this is something where, you're stretching yourself out of the box of normal society. And we're tuning into what I see for New Earth. I see it as a golden realm. I see it. And golden may or may not be the color as much as the frequency, the vibration, the golden light, but I always see it golden. And this connectedness, there is a community heart. And all of the empaths that have been born at this time and feel really challenged by the world. They're born to create the emotional infrastructure of the new earth and to feel in the community heart that is the center of the emotional foundation of new earth. Everybody feels everyone else. Everybody feels nature. Everybody feels what's going on collectively as well as individually. Therefore, you're not going to let somebody suffer on the street in pain without what they need for survival because you're suffering right along with them. And this is the community heart that we all tap into and draw from, that we are supported by, that we give support to. This is how we become a connected, conscious community and truly connected, where what really literally what I do to another, I feel back. That is a higher frequency experience of reality. And when we get that, it's much easier. It's much easier to be supportive and to be helpful and to be of service and to be loving and want to contribute to the whole rather than the individual, the law of one, the service to other versus service to self. I mean, you want to serve other because as a whole, we get how closely and totally connected we all are. And this third dimension experience of reality, it's a separation. There's the veil. We're veiled to seeing and feeling that for the most part, except empaths see and feel it, or feel it. Empaths feel so much and then shut down oftentimes because it's too much, because not everybody's feeling it, therefore not everybody is responding in the same way. But as we move into these higher frequency experiences of reality, the empaths are going to light up and be like, oh, this is why, this is a superpower. It's not something that that it's some sort of horrible thing that's been forced upon me. It's actually a superpower. And it's so crucial and necessary. And then the empaths get to be the way showers of like, here's how we come together and love each other and support each other and take care of each other and our planet and our water creatures and our, like all of the things that are being harmed by us as humanity. We won't be able to stand for that anymore.
Whew. Well said. Where do I go from here? I'd like to circle back around to this, to the practices and the processes of doing the work, the shadow work, clearing the density within ourselves and all of the things that make us feel guilt and shame and fear and, what are the other ones? Rejection, fear of rejection, abandonment, right? All these things that are the main ones that bubble up for people in different ways. And this is something that you teach in your program at the start of the program, or at least when I did, unless you changed it around, because it's foundational, really, for people to start understanding what's going on inside them and how we can start to process through this and carry out the self-inquiry to allow this to leave our body, by doing the work properly and not by just there's no spiritual bypassing around it. It's going into it. It is looking for the wisdom and the gold and the message and the experience and allowing it to move through us. And I'd love to hear your perspective on how it gets easier for people to exist. I mean, because it's been my experience that through doing this work, it's much easier to keep my eye on the prize. Through purging more and more of the density that's inside me, it's easier to kind of keep that bird's eye view. Can you speak into, like, on an energetic level, what's happening with our consciousness as we do this work, because it can feel really gritty as we're going through it, and really like burny and painful at times. Um, yeah, just if you can speak into the shifts that occur and how we are able to exist in a higher state of being through doing that work. And I suppose words of some encouragement for people, because sometimes it can feel like, where do I even start?
Yeah, yeah. So here's the thing. There is absolutely no shame or judgment in doing your shadow work. And that's key, because I hear so often from people that are going through, a new level of shadow work. I've already dealt with this. I was sure I was done with this, right? Here's where the
Yeah.
infinite layers of the onion come in. So as we level up, and I'll just kind of start at the beginning here, as we level up and move up, we could think of it as the spiral staircase of ascension, and ascension just meaning holding higher levels of light here in the physicality. As we're clearing out that shadow work, we're letting things go, we're having that the release, the clear. um, we must do that in order to hold a new level of light. And then next time when we level up again, we're still going up, but we come around to the dark side where the shadow is, and another layer of it must be cleared in order for us to be at this higher level of holding light. Because if we had cleared it already, then we'd already be there. And it's just this infinite leveling up, this infinite ascension process. So there's never any shame in, oh no, here comes another layer of shadow work. It's just the way it works. And I'm sorry to be the one to bear that news if anybody wasn't aware of that. Even going to 5D and higher, that does not mean you're not going to have shadow work to do. So you might as well get good at it, right? You might as well have a little bit of fun in the process if that's possible. And it is, because I built the program out that way so that we can have fun spotting our shadow programs. And, and it's so imperative to understand there's no judgment, no shame in any of it, and to get
Yeah.
honest with yourself, to get vulnerable with yourself, what we want to do and what we've been taught to do as humanity. And at least in the culture I was raised in, and Western cultures, if something is bothering you, if something's painful, take a pill or have a drink, or let's go party, or let's go blow off some steam, let's go have a good time, and ignore it. And what's that? Pushing it down, pretending it's not there,
Yeah.
let's numb it. And we're taught
Yeah.
to numb. That is not the way. That is not the way that you're ever going to level up. So it's about getting into the body when you're feeling something, and this is a practice that you can do every single day, to just take a breath and tune in, getting present, tuning into the body, tuning everything else out, and getting honest and asking for, do a body scan, ask yourself what's going on, and if there's a negative emotion, where is this coming from? What part of my body is holding this pain, or this upset, this negativity, this density, this congestion? And you tune into it, and you just get curious. Again, no judgment. And pain is just information. It's just feedback. And these bodies give us amazing feedback. And when we're tuned into them and we listen, they are so helpful and so supportive, and they will let us know everything that we need to know. So to be able to move into the physical body and get honest and real, and let those parts have a voice. Like, oh, I'm feeling pain in this area. Well, tune into it and ask it, what do you need? And how can I help you? And how can I support you? and just listen then. And one thing that helps sometimes is to anthropomorphize and give it a personality. So if it's your, we'll just say your knee, and your knee's causing some pain, some upset, give it a personality. What would your knee sound like if it could talk to you? And what would it have to say about this pain that it's feeling? And what, and just be curious, be the reporter, ask questions, find out, well, why are you feeling that way? Oh, and it might lead you to something that happened when you were 3 years old and you fell off your tricycle and your big brother laughed at you and made fun of you and, said you deserved it. And maybe that's stored there this entire time. And now you're an adult and you're still holding on to that density because you didn't know how to clear it back then. It might tell you things like that. It might even take you to past life experiences. It might even take you to the fear of being human and things like that. If you can really go deep and get honest and vulnerable and open and listen to the body, it's a warehouse. It stores information. It has crystalline structure within it that holds all of the wisdom of all of our lineage, all of the wisdom of our galactic heritage. So listen to the body, honor it, treat it like the most amazing high-tech piece of very, very expensive equipment that is priceless, that you've been gifted by coming here to this planet, and honor it and love it and give it the feedback of how grateful you are to that it's your host. This is your house. This is your home. While you're here, furnish it with beautiful things. Furnish it with loving emotions. Tell it wonderful things, just like you would want to tell a child, your child, that you love your child and you want to take the best possible care of it and protect it from harm. And when it does get harmed, that you want to listen and be supportive and be heart-centered. And so this isn't the way that most of us operate because we didn't know, right? We didn't know that we were supposed to do that. And that's not the things that we heard growing up. That might not be the things that our parents told us. And so this is a relearning of to honor and respect and love this physical body and to take out the garbage, which is the excavating of the shadow work, which I call the dark seed. The dark seed is that core program that is causing us to generate negativity, that's causing us to be triggered by the outside world, that's causing us to be upset. And when we can recognize that and say, oh, look at that, I just got triggered by somebody else doing what they're doing, really had nothing to do with me. Why did I get upset about that? Then we can tune in and find out, oh, that's because I felt rejected, because I felt like nobody cared about me, because I felt hurt in some way. And this is the excavation process that will lead us to clearing, really taking out the garbage. We don't let garbage pile up in our house. Why would we let it pile up in our bodies? All disease, I'm convinced that all dis-ease begins as as a pattern first, that we allow. It's like a cloudy pattern that comes in and it gets into our emotional body. And if we don't clear it, pay attention to your emotions, honor what you're feeling, let those things go, be vulnerable, just be open to processing that out. Because if we don't, then it gets denser and denser and denser, and it finds a place to hook in an anchor in the body until it starts causing pain or tumors or whatever it turns into, dis-ease. And we can go in and reprogram that and pull those, the roots of the dark seed, pull them out. We must be diligent about that if we want to have healthy bodies. And we must treat our bodies like just this most divine gift that we've been given for this very short time while we're here.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I'd love to reflect on the changes that the world and that people are going through right now on, and how basically it is this crumbling of our foundations, because we've been told or lived in a society rather, and it's not about blaming anything. It's, it's we chose to be here now to be part of this change that is occurring, and I am very happy to take full responsibility for that. But my own experience has been, my like I feel betrayed by my body, and to live in a body that you feel betrayed by because I've carried extra weight for most of my life and felt like such a piece of shit about that, basically. To come now to the point of going that our body is this technology that, and I chose this body, so we're basically rewiring really foundational, deep-seated beliefs that we've carried a lot of distorted views and emotion around, and that is no easy feat. It doesn't have to be hard, but it does take diligence. It does take awareness. It does take a willingness and a being open to what is up for review within yourself. Um, so yeah, I love what you say about the body, and about feeling, these empaths. I love how you put it, empath way showers, those of us who felt so much through our lives and have then been conditioned to not feel so much in our environments, to now go, we actually have to feel, and the whole process around that's been a massive rewiring I've done this year. Is it's safe to feel through Ulrika Villan. I did her erotically embodied program, who I met actually through Suzanne, but I know she was on your most recent summit. Just amazing. I was just going, God, that's revolutionary. It's safe to feel. Really? Are you sure? Are you sure? Because we get so uncomfortable with it. And there's people, I think, men especially, I have such a soft spot in my heart for men. And I know this is global, but especially in Australia, where there's such a disconnect between them and their emotions and their hearts. And their hearts, men's hearts, is their center of creation. And something I'm really passionate about is allowing people, is helping people. And I suppose even just sometimes it's just as simple as saying something, and it's that trigger, it's that activation within them, because not all triggers are bad, right? I love a good trigger. Triggers are good though.
Well, the good thing about triggers is that it oftentimes, when we're spotting our triggers, when we're aware of our triggers, we take notice, we become aware, then what was previously unknown to us in our subconscious, I like to say what was behind you, you couldn't see, but then you realize, oh, I'm triggered by something. It's bringing that subconscious program in the front of you so that you can see it. And if you can see it, you can work with it. And so the trigger is a gift because it's pointing to something that's ready to be cleared when you become aware of it.
Mm-hmm. A gift from your highest self is what I like to say. For facilitating. It's I like to think of it as this elaborate process where it's like, okay, our highest self, wherever that is like coordinating with that person's highest self. That's the best person to trigger us. So we're going to just go in and make this situation happen so Nicola can learn something, and then she can, fill herself with more light if she does the work that we're asking her to do.
Indeed. And yeah, triggers can be a gift for sure.
Yeah. So I'd love to talk a bit about ascension. And you actually start calling it embodied ascension, which is wonderful because that does balance the energy out in the word and language. I think, interestingly, there's a lot, at least for me, that's coming up around words that are using and how it's shifting and changing. Everything is shifting and changing right now. Hallelujah. I'm a mutable sign. I'm good with the change. Let's do it. And I think there's been a bit of a distorted and fanciful idea around what ascension is. Can you speak into that a little bit?
Absolutely. And this is my wheelhouse. There, yeah. So the reason that I chose to insert the term embodied ascension, there's this idea that ascension is, just kind of getting out of the body, going up to the heavens and, sort of ignoring everything else that's going on. And in that, if that was what it was, we'd really be missing out on the whole human experience, which is why we're here. I mean, we're human for a reason and for a very short time in the grand scheme of things, in the grand scheme of infinity. It's a small blip. So we get to enjoy being human. And the difference between that, whatever that is, leaving your body, and embodied ascension, it's really about bringing total awareness into the body, like what I mentioned before about becoming aware of what's going on in here as far as pain. It's also becoming aware of the pleasure and the joy and practicing tuning in to higher frequency feeling experiences. And throughout embodied ascension, because you took the course, at the toward the end, we're tapping into practicing bliss and rapture states. Now, that is not about getting out of the body. That's getting deeply, deeply into the body. And it's not about staying in bliss and rapture forever. It's about touching in to these higher frequency emotional and physical experiences so that we are adapting and attuning our nervous system, our physicality to be able to handle these higher frequency experiences so that when we're ready to step into new earth and 5D, and when the sort of the 100th monkey effect happens and more of us are doing that, our nervous systems can be prepared and ready for that type of experience. Because otherwise what we're going to do is, oh, no, I don't want to feel that, right? There's this push away of anything that feels like too much, too intense. Oh, I'm not ready. It can actually cause a shutdown. So we want to just brush in to these higher frequency experiences. We want to just tap in now and then, and that becomes more and more possible the more shadow work we do, the more garbage, the more trash we take out, the more room there is for more light. And so we get to practice. What does it mean to hold more light? What does it feel like to hold more light? That doesn't mean your stuff doesn't still come up. That doesn't mean you never get triggered again. That doesn't mean that you don't have your shadow work. That means that I get to experience this and appreciate it and enjoy it and tap into it and, brush into, ooh, it feels good to feel what this higher light feels like. It feels good to clear my mind and have this greater expanded vision of what connecting to humanity and nature could be like, or whatever that is for you. But then, it's really this back and forth and not being judgmental about it. Going to the new earth, going to 5D, upgrading your frequency is not static. It's not something that you do and then you're done. It's a back and there's a spectrum. There's always this like spectrum where we're tapping into the higher frequencies, and then something happens and now I'm back over here. And it's not about judging it. It's just the way it works for a while. It's not this like, I mean, the way that I see it, and I know there are teachers out there that are like, okay, there's going to be a big, whatever, solar flare or something, and then we're all going to be in 5D. That's not, I mean, and I'm not saying that's wrong. That might be true for them. That's not what I see. I see it as a practice, and the embodiment practice is about getting in here, getting honest, getting vulnerable, getting clear, listening, feeling, and so many of, particularly empaths, myself included, in childhood, I shut that down. I didn't want to feel that. I didn't want to feel so much. It was uncomfortable, and I didn't know how to process all of that emotional feeling stuff. So I shut it down. I became pretty like solid and hard to get through. And I had to relearn how to open back up. I had to relearn how to be vulnerable. I had to relearn what is intimacy, what is connecting with other people. That's terrifying. when you're an empath. But you again, like tapping into bliss and rapture states, you get to play with it, you get to practice it, you get to step by step peel the layers of the onion and see what happens. And it's a practice, and as you do it more and more and more, you wake up the both the physicality, the emotionality, and the mentality of being human, and connect on such a higher frequency than we were capable of before doing all of that work. So it's always worth it to get in the body. And also, I want to say, adding movement in to your everyday. We spend so much time now behind computers or in front of our phones, to make sure that every day you're going out, you're getting, if you're in a place where you can get some sunshine, get some sun, take your bare feet and put them on the earth or in the grass, and let yourself be with nature. If you can take nature walks, wonderful. If you can hug a tree, do that, and connect with people. But don't just be behind a screen and feel like you're going to make your embodied ascension practice better. And yes, there are things you can learn every day, and there are meditations that are wonderful, and there are things to watch and things to read, absolutely. But don't forget that we are physical beings living in a physical reality, and that is a very, very special gift. So be in nature, be with people, move your body, dance, do yoga, get exercise, just whatever that is, go out and be human and be embodied.
You've touched on everything there. Yes. And this concept of judgment has come up a few times. And I think the best thing, in addition to all of this, that we can really do, like I go out into my little backyard if I've been on the computer for a while, and I just ground into the earth for a little bit and get some sun. But when we're feeling the fear and the judgment and any of those sort of lower frequency emotions coming forth, to understand that this is being poked and prodded by the light. It's part of our process. We don't have to continue down the rabbit hole of pain. We can just allow it to be, let it be, go in and talk to the part of us that's bringing that forth. But the grounding in the earth can really hold a lot of that as we allow her to hold us. And I think that's actually a beautiful point to leave that on, is the earth holds all of us, but there's a lot of us that don't trust. And trust is a really beautiful practice, and probably one of the most important things that people can do is to allow our mother to hold us, and feel the peace that's available through that. There's a lot of distraction and noise around us. I mean, there always has been, and it's just sort of feels like it's been, ramping up. It's not necessarily stopping anytime soon, but it doesn't matter. It's just noise. And if we can keep coming back to ourselves, back to our bodies, back to the earth, back to the people in our community and our families, and keep nourishing our connections, the connection with ourself, with source, God, spirit, whatever it is that we connect to, that is a guiding light of sorts. It's all within us. I think that is one of the most profound things that we learn, is that which so many people have been seeking outside of themselves is found within. And when we realize that the insecurities that we've carried for so many years, the self-doubt, the self-hate, even in different times, in different cases, different situations, these programs that distort the truth of our being, the truth of who we are, the magnificence of what we are. It's really not complicated. It doesn't have to be. It's about making space to go within, not being afraid of the bad feelings that are coming up to be released, and to allow ourselves to be held. I'd love to hear with Shayla what you're grateful for.
I mean, yeah, where do I begin? I've learned to be grateful for this body and this incarnation. I love the water, I'm grateful that I get to live so close to the ocean. I could go there regularly. Um, Nature, I'm grateful for the sun, and just to have the sun every day to tune into and receive from. For me, sun is totally connected to source energy, and I get so much energy and so much power from tuning into the sun and the earth. For, of course, my community, my family, all this wonderful ascension community that I've been able to grow over the last several years. So grateful, and that I get to do my purpose work. And that was a choice that I made.
Oh,
I
it
don't
just
know where
crashed. My whole browser just crashed.
Oh wow! Well, you got back
Oh.
so quickly. I'm impressed, and I'm grateful for technology when it works, and
Yeah.
and for patience when it doesn't. Right? And speaking of gratitude, I mean, I could go on all day, but I would just love to give everyone this little challenge of create a gratitude journal and keep growing it. Write down what you're grateful for, and then focus on it, because as you focus on what you're grateful for, you get more to be grateful for. And that awareness expands. And it truly is such a high frequency feeling and experience. You can always bring yourself up with gratitude, especially when you've practiced being able to feel gratitude on command, and get so good at it that if someone comes up to you and says, feel grateful right now, you can be like, oh yeah, I can do that. I can feel great. I feel it. It feels great. Right?
Yeah.
That can be a practice. I mean, it's not natural for everyone because we shut that down. But get good at gratitude because it will change your life.
Yeah. Ah, yes. And to be grateful for our triggers, the challenging teachers, also is a wonderful practice too.
Mm.
Very helpful in moving through the burn.
It is. And remember the yin and yang, it's the black and the white together. Nobody said you're just going to have all white. And
Yeah.
no, all light and no shadow. We
Yeah.
need that shadow we need balance. It's
Yeah.
important,
Yeah.
and we have them both. And if we're afraid of our shadow work, that can destroy our light. So just to embrace it all, there's no judgment in it. It's the way it's designed. It's meant to be that way. And that's unity, to be able to, okay, I get to clear shadow. I get to clear my triggers in order to level up and experience this new level of light. And then I'll have a new level of dark. And then, and it's like we just get to keep going and playing and experiencing and get good at that. There's nothing bad about it. It's just the shadow.
Oh, that's so perfectly put, because there is a lot of it. Yes, it never ends. And that's part of the beauty of being human. But we do get better at handling it, and we roll with it, as you say. It just becomes part of the beautiful process.
Yeah.
So you have a gratitude gift on the speaker page, nicolahenderson.co/gratitude series, called Evolving Consciousness 5D. And Frequency Embodiment Activation and Anchoring Masterclass.
Yes, so this is my free gift. It's been growing, so I keep adding things. I could throw this in there too, why not? Yeah, this is where, it's a master class where it's obviously it's pre-recorded, but we went in and worked with heart awakening, pineal activation, chakra balancing, getting aligned and attuned to those higher dimensional frequencies. Remember what I said about being able to tap into those higher emotional states so that we can practice them and be ready to attune our nervous system to higher feeling states so that we're ready for higher frequency realities. And then along with that, there's a lot embedded and packed in that course. But also I put in a breathwork class, Ascension breathwork, which is something that I put this sequence together, designed this breathwork as guided from my wonderful guidance team. And it's very powerful for moving energy and letting that shadow go, letting triggers go. So I highly recommend to practice the breath work. And then I also put in a link to the new Lemurian portal activation, which is the golden realm of New Lemuria, which is a state within the new earth, a state of consciousness, also a state of being. So all of that is included and more.
Wow. Thank you, Waxela. When the new Golden Lemuria felt really nice in my heart when you said that.
Yeah,
beautiful.
It's a lot of fun.
So in closing, deepest gratitude to you, Waxela. I really appreciate you and the work that you do in this world and your light and everything that you give. And it would be an understatement to say that you've been pivotal in my journey this past year. It is an honor to be shoulder to shoulder, heart to heart with you now, bringing and ringing in the new earth. I celebrate you. I celebrate humanity. And I celebrate life. Here's to life. And if I may give you a gift of light language.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you for that beautiful acknowledgement. And I celebrate you equally. I'm so grateful for you. And I've loved watching your expansion and transformation through this process. It's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Kai ki aya nama aya sakai. Shiny aya sanai I aya kanama aya shanaka. Laya saya namini aya kakaya saya nama aya kakaya namia. Shinai u e anama kai anama a u I anamuya saka. She ayanamaya kiki I ayanai I. Kaishina maya kakaya sananimi aya kakai I ayasanama aya ka.
Thank you.
And thank you again. Thank you to everyone who is tuned in, watching live or catching the replay. It has been a gift to share this experience with you all. Have a blessed morning, afternoon, or night.